Hello, it's Sonia here with The Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So I usually post videos about crocheting, like stitch tutorials or actual patterns, and I occasionally also do some knit tutorials, but very, very rarely. If that seems interesting to you, please like and subscribe. I would appreciate it so much. Alright, so today is Wednesday, and that means it's the Stitch of the Week. So for today's stitch, I will be using my G-hook, or 4.25 millimeter, and I have some fingering weight or sport weight yarn here. It's something that's in my stash. It's pretty old, not sure the brand of it. And for this stitch pattern, you can use a variety of yarns and a variety of hook sizes. And this stitch is called the mini bean stitch. Now I do believe I have at least one pattern using this stitch, but I never did a stitch of the week of it, which is kind of funny because it's a fun little stitch and it's really easy to do and works up pretty quickly. So to do this stitch, what you'll need to do is chain a multiple of 2 and then add 1. So why don't we chain 11, because 2 times 5 is 10, and then you add 1 more and it's 11. So I always like to do the math with the whole chaining thing. I'm terrible at math, and it kind of just helps me when I am stitching to kind of think it through a little bit. So I don't want you to think that you're stupid and you don't know, or that I think you're stupid that you don't know what 2 times 5 is, because I'm sure you do, but I just feel like it kind of just helps out the process. Alright, so to get started with this stitch, you are going to be working in the 3rd chain from your hook. So 1, 2, and there's the 3rd one right there, and you're going to insert your hook into that 3rd chain and pull up a loop. So now we have 2 loops on our hook. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to do a yarn over, and you can work in your chain however you like. If you like the back bump or how I do it, or just the 1 loop, it's fine, whatever your preference is. So we've yarned over, we're going to go right back into that same stitch and pull up a loop. So now we have 4 loops on our hook. So now we're going to yarn over and pull through all 4 of those loops. And we've created our first little mini bean. See, it looks like a little bean there. So what you do after you've created your little bean stitch, to finish it off, you're just going to chain 1. And there we go. So now we're going to skip the next chain and work into the next one. So you're going to do the same thing as we did here. You're going to insert your hook, so skipping this guy and going into the next one, and you're going to pull up a loop. Now you're going to yarn over and go right back into that stitch, pull up a loop. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 4 of those guys. So now we have 2, and then we're going to chain 1 to finish that off. So now we'll skip the next chain and work into the next one. So insert your hook into that chain, pull up your loop, yarn over, insert your hook into the chain again, pull up a loop, so 4 loops, yarn over, pull through all 4, and then work your chain 1. So now we have 2 more chains left. So in your last stitch here, we're going to work the bean stitch again, the mini bean. Go right back into that chain, that last chain, pull up your loop, yarn over, go right back in that stitch, pull up your loop. So we've got the 4 loops, and yarn over, pull through all 4, and then chain 1 to complete that stitch. So we have our first row of mini beans. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 little beans. So it's a very, very cute little stitch and works up very quickly. So let's get ready for row 2. Okay, so let's get ready for row 2. So row 2, you are going to chain 1 again. So you're actually going to have 2 chains here, and now we're going to turn. So now we are going to work the mini bean stitch right in the same stitch. So it's really easy to kind of find. You can either turn it like this and you can see clearly the stitch there, or if you just kind of spread it apart, you're going to see that space there. So you can insert your hook right in that stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and then go right back in that stitch, pull up a loop. So now we have our 4 loops, and pull through all 4, and you're going to chain 1. So now we're going to go into the next mini bean, so you can see that it's got like a nice big space there, so you know where to work. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, go right back in there, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 4, chain 1. So you're always going to complete the stitch by chaining 1. So we're just going to keep going across. And this is my last stitch here. And I'm going to chain 1. So what you're going to do is you're going to just repeat row 2. So to start row 3, actually this is row 2 we just did, but to complete the stitch pattern, sorry about that, my hook's like got a mind of its own there. So to complete the stitch pattern, you're going to be repeating row 2. So we're going to chain 1 and turn, so actually you have 2 chains there, and we're going to turn our work, and you're going to go right back in. See, there's our big space. So pull up your loop, yarn over, go right back in there. So you've got your 4 loops, pull through all 4, chain 1. And you just keep going across. So as you can see, this is a pretty fast stitch pattern, a really great one for beginners. So if you're just new with crocheting, you should be able to pick this one up pretty fast. And it would work for a variety of projects like hats, blankets, scarves. It's fairly reversible. You could incorporate it with other stitches. So I think that's what I did when I used this stitch. And I will try to link, I'll have to find the project. I think I made it a few years ago, that project, if you're curious about what I'm talking about. So now we've completed row 3. So I'm going to continue working a few more rows so you can really see the stitch pattern, and I will meet you back. Alright, so I have worked 10 rows of the mini bean stitch, so here it is. And I think it's a really nice stitch. It's definitely reversible. It looks great on both sides, which is really nice if you want to make scarves or a wrap. You could use this for all different projects. It would be really suitable blankets. It's definitely a great stitch for that, and you can use a variety of hook sizes and yarn types with this stitch. So I hope you enjoyed this stitch of the week, and I thank you so much for watching.